Now vote buying ya akoso ewa yawasu east no akofa pressure bebre ya di aba Ghana mampanyin John Dramani Mahama so se ene ewom se waji baba jama ni di bref ni nsem na mom so ama CID fo am prosecute na na so man investigate incident a SCA na omantimi an twen de oye involve bia so a ene boshe odi share Ghana for se oba be fight corruption no na atonsuo mu anesa nti ene anyasem ketu akra eja egu mampanyin chem papa se obetimi etu anamon ama Ghana fo nyina hu se ne nsem o kan no odi su sa pepepe na ne boshe o share Ghana fo se obe fight against corruption no odi ye adwuma ama bibia timi akoye yenjebre na yenkotie nsem a nimdifo bi akeka dia fa nsem a ekoso
Baba Agyemang Ghana's High Commissioner to Nigeria. I was said, naturally said, and Oba be Parliament after I'll be contesting or some could show my penny now or resign the position. If you say, wouldn't mean yet High Commissioner. Now at the same time, women share Parliament. Oh my God. The Mepan said, the Bianca parliamentary contest you lose ya. Then nan kwasa ko no have to yes I know yes the big one five ma omampi yes of me no and the pastor mampani what take that decisive action sir maram igam de mao o be parliament akode and the man of and no in a free and I like that. Na me sesenka Baba Agyemang yesane so called corruption crabaya time senka omampani obeyi na free no ara yesane suba wo ye enya de papa now Baba Agyemang ne nia waye na ama ne party for so asomo eya sem papa na yete because for all these years of the Fourth Republic Mentidi said parliamentary candidate be why corrupt in the electoral process. Yafrano action when the Arab from them. NTM said the new agenda of Mahama Mahama or they buy a democracy. It is something we should all embrace and support it. Since this republic, almost all candidates almost corrupt system.
Yeah.
If you assume you do any demo, the Mahama can the other. Elsewhere, they are trying to influence democratic practice here. This and the influence now we are parliament there. Not just say democracy here. So this said, would mean in terms of the past as bad as it is. The silver lining in this and it's a party now so regular. Parliament majority leader or not so regular. President Kasa sorry, it's something new in our republic. Them say I will say so we move. Yes, for masni. All the political parties, any other stakeholders say here. Now issue a yaka since 1994. Say the secret said yen fa carry the newsroom na yen shemra. You know kasa imatise from parliamentarians the private members be for parliament act criminalizing this kind of behavior in our electoral process. Yemwa nessa abe no embrem. And put to a stop to the way we have corrupted the political process. The corruption, this action of trying to influence voters, a corruption. In the MD said, Mampani and the party people, or what me issue statements, they condemn this act.
Baba Prof, shadi. Say Baba Agyemang, time na Oba be contesting no. One could show Mampani. I don't know whether we could show Mampani and I said one kushia no. but a party no I say a couple of weeks ago Fifi Kwete issue statement a press conference say obi a ukuta position bia no opese oba begina position different positioner you have to resign, which it hasn't taken effect. But na me say dey Baba Jama so owini a dey a obe resign dada. Ena se na o man panyin fone on Baba Jama so obe contest ya e ke bi o hye ne so o resign ansa na wa contest. So the question I'm asking is Baba Jama or Baba contest no ayi o man panyin issue statement na or recall no based on ade na si ani tia say ade na airtime edutina where you Baba Jama edino. So the question is airtime means that you had an evidence, that is why you had an evidence and you are convinced by the evidence. That is why wasake Baba Jama. So the question is why is that say omanpanyin fanem ma CID and that's all fanem ma the appropriate courts to deal with the Baba Jama, despite say office of the special prosecutor has written to Baba Jama.
Jedikai minim se sere mekai no se okoshia omanpanyin na so okoshia, but very interesting say 2 weeks earlier no na Fifi Kwete party secretary no announced say while we hold the position you cannot contest.
Yeah.
Indeed, going ahead to contest, he flouted the directive of the party.
Yeah.
The autonomy say other than 100 normal CI. Many sure say there's a law in our books. Say, what here on election day a crime I will say a chew. Many sure.
Okay.
Because the fact is say party will say or more, not the party but some parliamentarian private members bill for parliament against this practice and no me say already say if you do that a criminal act.
Okay.
Me pushes on yes some run on person the yen support. And the back who say embrata hodia UPSA now you treat the map police.
All right, we'll be joined by Mr. Agyemang Wilson, is anti-corruption crusader. Mekon Horse is here, and also joined by Mr. Francis Aovi, a security expert and a political and social science commentator. Now, Prof, Mamiti, you if you na Mekon Mr. Wilson Honum. Per the old case, now that we have seen some members of parliament, one day bill a parliament to criminalize activities, no, but you read our constitution, our criminal and offences act, no, other offences act, no. When you read section 239 to 253, talks about bribery and corruption, means bribery and corruption. Beside that, no, so no, also the office of the special prosecutor, one of the functions is to investigate and also investigate the public officers and politically expose people. So if say office of the special prosecutor invite Baba Jama any NPP for, don't you think that there's an element of criminality in what Baba Jama did? So there's no need for us to wait for a bill that will be criminalized. You say sa activity is Baba Jama.
Very excellent question. Based on existing law, no, possible say who office of special prosecutor can pursue this matter and not be already for months. Near to me, Mramrano say be yes specific. Yeah, now lawyers done some way around it.
I see.
And Mr. Dientia, those parliamentarians almost propose a new law. And now they said, and yet law to convict people. And till I'm some the clarity. Wouldn't say that as a Mayakan. It's been going on since the beginning of this republic.
Yeah.
And from elections 1 or 2 ago, make a certain somewhere will be the TVs are
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Tricycle.
In the early 90s, normal fitting as here the baby the bed tour ɛnkyene koobi yɛde kɔ nkurase a nkurasifoɔ pɛni de ama wo ɛne atenetena ho saa sɛsɛ deɛ yɛde television ne aboboya yɛahwɛ deɛ bɛkakrakra de akɔdotɔ taxes sɛ momagye tax let's say the whole system no yɛ corrupt no enti nokora sɛ bi a on the present koraa no OSP bɛtumi I take certain action. Now, things he should.
Okay.
President, dear, do more, yeah.
Okay.
Then the OSP Bay.
All right. Okay, Prof. Mr. Jasuba, Mrs. Don't go yet. Be with me. Let me go to the line. I'm Emmanuel Wilson, anti-corruption crusader. So, Mr. Wilson, back West Africa has here. Nobody has ever fought this canker than you. I remember the Akotia by-election, you issue a statement, you condemned what happened in Akotia, Asin South, Asin North constituency by-election, you issue a statement, you condemned it. It looks like this country, you are not being heard by this country. Now tell us, what else can we do? What else can we do to keep this situation once and for all? Professor Agyemang just hinted us that some members of parliament, they call parliament to a bill idea called parliament to criminalize these activities once and for all. That's a clarity. But tell us, what else can we do until that bill is passed? What else can we do to keep this canker, please?
May I say, Otemenka?
Let you go ahead, say.
Good. Mamintia Prof ne other colleagues are online so. And what your phone is now. First off, the MPC establishing is that you can't vote buying and vote selling. A criminal offense.
Yeah.
It is already in our criminal book. So occur into the criminal code 1960. Specific sections, section 240 and section 241.
Yeah.
It describes first off, it says say who decided say, oh, Tom voter, you've committed a crime.
Yeah.
And at the other section also says who decided say, oh, Tom voter, you've committed a crime. So in other words, Section 240 and 241 says that the vote buyer and the vote seller, they have all committed a crime. Into that must be established. The vote buying, vote selling at any given point in time, particularly during election period, no, it is already established in our criminal code. It is classified as a crime. Yeka crime, so you know what crime is. Anything that offends your laws. Into now, me know, kasi, sebi. You which is not willingly coming from you, but because I am depriving you. In other words, what I'm doing is I am stealing from you, I am robbing from you. That is a crime. The way and manner not the law enforcers will deal with the person because it is a crime. The same way your law books expect to say Obia Obe engaging in vote buying and vote selling will be treated as a criminal. The challenge we have in this country, and I'm happy you've acknowledged or you've mentioned it there, for so many years I have consistently been talking about vote buying and vote selling.
Yeah.
And it is because a criminal offense, and I don't understand why a criminal offense, the law enforcers like Shraj, like Iyoku, special prosecutor, CID, what's the name, police. Ama a criminal, speedily it is becoming a norm. Look, isn't it worrying? Say Ubika to Obabi Wiawa, Obekinichi, Ehunka Trabebono. Because when he said the same thing. So be a decided say or Kotoni votes and or Kotoni vote at this time, even in the presence of the police, the people are doing it blatantly. Simply because over the past years we are not enforcing this law. And people think that if we don't have the law governing it, it is an absolute crime. Coming back to the issue of then you beat me, very simple. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. Matisse people are calling for private members bill. Matisse release is coming from Parliament, especially from the majority caucus. And I'm so disappointed. They say they should annul the election that took place. That is not the best approach. You know why it's not the best approach? And yet the best approach because you don't annul an election and think instead you are going to save or prevent future occurrences. No. What you do is you ensure that the laws are implemented. Finish. Ghana, we have all the best laws. The only problem is when it comes to implementation. What prevented Parliament passes from giving directive and saying they expect this law to be enforced by the police? They will call the police, they will call the special prosecutor to come and meet them and question them as to why they were standing there when criminal offense was being committed. In the presence of the police, people were sharing TVs. That is a crime. What did they do about it? Special prosecutor Babekache and said, of this party, some of Onoaning Koponi be cracked for all Kasibakokra was attacked. It means that in this past elections that has been happening, special prosecutor has also been sending his people there. In the presence of this personnel, crime is taking place. What did they do about it? We won't go far. And I am quite trade. This year, we've had 2 different elections. NPP had their presidential primary. That's about 2 weeks ago. And just last week, and this year, NPP primaries, me, as a custom, and my colleagues and our workers, crusaders, me dispatch them to various centers to go and observe and come and give reports so that based on it, we can make an informed decision. Me, personally, may visit 3 different voting centers during the NPP primaries, presidential primary. 3 different voting centers. I can mention the voting centers to you. I went to Ablikuma North, I went to Ayawatu West Wagon, and then I came to Kolekrote, Eyosu. These 3 in front of me, and yes, you'll be saying in front of me, I saw people coming from the Japan's camp giving 500 Ghana cedis to each of the delegates. I saw people coming from Briny Champions camp giving each of the delegates 700 Ghana cedis. I saw people coming from Baumia's camp giving each of the delegates 500 Ghana cedis. I saw people coming from the former education minister, the camp giving 300 Ghana cedis to each of the delegates. I didn't see anyone coming from or purported to be coming from the engineer's side. I can't say, but at least these 4 people, and yes, will be saying, let me say, it happened. Police were there. Now we are being told that special prosecutor also sends people to this center. What prevented them from investigating, not even investigating, but arresting? Indeed, when you are committing a crime, you don't need the presidency, you don't need parliament to issue a statement. It is your duty to enforce the law. What happened to section 240? What happens to section 241? These are clearly spelled out in the Criminal Code of Ghana 1960. It defines both buying, both selling as a crime, a criminal offense. And you making sure all we do is to put pressure on the law enforcers and ask them why have they stopped or why have they decided that this aspect of criminality they are not willing to enforce the law. That is the question. What prevented special parliament? Instead of giving the communique, said they should annul it. Annul it on what ground? What locals do they have to say they are annulling an election? They don't have any locals. They can only say they are annulling it when investigation has taken place. Court has established there's vote buying, there's vote selling, and a crime. Then they can come out and say based on this, we should annul it. What they are supposed to be working as people and institutional, almost serving, they have an oversight responsibility over the executive, which includes all the law enforcement agencies like IOCO, STRAJ, Special Prosecutor, Police, and the rest have said. Yes, is to make sure that these institutions are working. They fail to do that. Then we come to the presidency. The presidency also came out to tell us they have given a communique. And what is the communique? The communique is that Baba Jama, if in the position as ambassador. The truth of the matter is that is honestly, with much respect, I would describe it as much I do about nothing. In the sense that the convention we have in this country is very clear. You cannot be a member of parliament, or neither can you even be an aspirant and still hold yourself as an ambassador. And what I knew would have happened is that Inca actually by the end of today, Baba Agyemang would have resigned. So what I was expecting rather from the presidency wasn't to say something that is obvious, which is obvious. What he should have done was to give directive to any of the law enforcers, the police, the CID, the special prosecutor, because they are part of the executive, and still say, I am demanding a report from you. A crime has taken place, and not just on the Ayawa, based on the Ayawa Kulier. Because what we need is that we must make sure that this doesn't happen in all elections. It's not just on the Ayawa Sudian, but the presidency should have said, look, I saw vote buying and vote selling taking place during the NPP primaries. And so have I seen vote buying and vote selling taking place during the NDC primaries. I want you to investigate and give me a report. Then we know, say, indeed, what you are doing is that you want the law to take its effect. In any case, we are here talking about resetting Ghana. Resetting Ghana simply means what? Making sure that the institutions and the laws are working.
Yeah.
And when you want the institutions and the law to work, what do? What you do is that you make sure that the institutions under you are letting them work. The special prosecutor, you know what Mahama say? As far back as 2019 was the first time the special prosecutor came out publicly, to tell us or investigating into vote buying and vote selling cases that happened here during the former president Akufo-Addo time and now Omo appointed MCUs and DCs. From 2019 BCN, how many elections have we done? Which of these elections haven't we recorded vote buying and vote selling? Just like you said, even Akwitia and Co. Out of all these elections, has there been a single instance where the special prosecutor has been able to apply section 240 and section 241? No.
Okay.
So the problem is, how come we are not able to apply the laws that we were spending sika and resources to enact? The laws are just sitting in our booth, on our shelves, gathering that. And then we keep recycling. Ochina election, it will be worse because all we do is that it happened like what has happened this weekend here. You can't maximum 1 week, 2 weeks, and we forget about it. We are not looking at the main issue. The main issue is, why are we not applying the law that we already have in this country?
All right, Mr. Wilson, thank you very much. Mr. Jinasuma, don't go yet. There's a specific question that I have to ask you because when I'm a person can treat that question, but let me engage Mr. Francis Ahovi. I'm told that Mr. Clement Akulo is a parliamentary journalist, has also joined us. So thank you very much, sir. Let me go to Honorable Ahovi. So, Mr. Ahovi, Mr. Wilson, Emmanuel Wilson, Asemna Okana. It looks like the special prosecutor it hasn't done enough because the special prosecutor made an arrest invitation. Tama Professor Kingsley Nyako, member of parliament at the Makwadaso constituency, who said allegedly a brown envelope. There you see BBO Wadema, an EC official, which was captured by camera. They know special prosecutor invited. We don't know the state of that matter. What I say, that issue does not fall within the preliminary investigation by the special prosecutor as the special prosecutor act. Some of the cases the preliminary investigation will determine whether it falls within the special prosecutor act or not for them to work on. Yet, then you go to address Dumase where NDC had their primaries for 2024 election, and there was a woman called Juliana Wanzam Kenan. She was Yehuno say we did not open top so no all to sika or spray sika. The special prosecutor also wrote to that woman or invited Yanti Bibia. Judging from all these things, and then the special prosecutor Central Yakoba, New Patriotic Party, and National Democratic Congress, Baba Agyemang were invited. New Patriotic Party to about last 2 weeks. Special prosecutor Eti, to say that now Uriah Wilson Eka, what the Uriah Wilson actually and say he saw people giving money and all that. Special prosecutor what TV, social media, radio, television were invited to until some way the banner or invite them. Don't you think the office of the special prosecutor is wasting our time, wasting our energy, wasting our resources?
Yo, Minia, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Mamifa Akwanyo Tsunami Chia Mifines were on the same table. So the Americans say for the special prosecutor, I may not like to dwell them much because Memeka say special prosecutor no afina Ebeka say I resume kakra announce say onya hope kakra bi ba because one him say enche pi na nkrofo bi say what should we do? Yes, scrap sa office no because omo hu mfa so a ɛwɔ no so ana office no so. So ono so kae emre bi twem sɛ ɔyɛ ankonam. So that means sɛ ɛmo a nka ɛsɛ sɛ yɛdi ma no as special prosecutor no yɛtumi ka wɔ camera nim ana nso sɛ TV ana radio so sɛ oh ɔnkɔyɛ adwuma nanso behind the scenes no na yɛnim nneɛma a ɛkɔ so. Do we give him the total powers as people? Yet me man sa power no ana. And also say ye can keke say a special prosecutor onkonye ABCD. Now so we are the same people yet me to try and say. So the American honor say it is not a good sign for him. Say Sanya Manina Bessi say Oboss Siciano as his duty on Timinyashi Faso. Now so at the same time no, I don't want to put the blame squarely at his doorsteps, but I will say that this is the time you start starting game no fufro. So why not don't we wait and see the Rico Anamoa and Otu Siciano say on so betimiako say. So that's what I would like to say. But what actually I want to stress is say we shouldn't think that vote buying is not just an electoral offense. It is a security threat that quietly undermines democracy and fuels post-election tension. Misaka no before process election vote buying. It is just a way of postponing today's mayhem, today's hurt, instability, today's social unrest, and also say to some extent, buying vote today, as a candidate or to occupy a certain position, being a minister. And now to the president and not whatever, we are just postponing instability. And now so say we are postponing coup d'etat, mamin cancer. Why do I say so? Obi Besami say Argentina Obi buy vote today. We are postponing instability or and now so say mayhem to the future. Asiane say Emre Pino omo qualify say ometinye di enim. Minima the continent Yakupon and sa dear. Now so Emre Pino, San Crofono, Omu Yen Crofwa, Omu Pesikapi. They are no money lovers. So for that matter, Emre Pino now Muniska. Now so as we are speaking today, community and also say the countries around Africa, say Sikani Hoa, Yen to Abama and Pano. Now Nepal ye kotu abano because Wamaya Sikano. Ebia oni sanim mapa the profession, the skills, and also say what it takes to govern the people or to lead the community. Yeah. But ebasa omuna omuye de omu lead because omuska. So ebasa the youth today, they may accept you today, but mutimi who say wa bananso omu kwano asay or bananso school semo and call ye omu school dying and also say omu hospital asem. And especially the unemployment situation, what him say Abraham must say, Mami summarize no Obi Biara, including you. All of us we need to eat. We also need where we should lay our head and what we should.
Yeah.
That's what will lead to what we call the men will rebel. Because
yeah.
On the trend.
Yeah.
Men will rebel because they could not attain whatever they need. So what the reason is capable. Just because money speaks for them, know their capability and their ability of governing. So today, in today's contemporary democracy, the tenets of democracy or good governance must speak. And yeah. And so we need to commend the NDC majority caucus in parliament and also the government and the General Secretary for this human step they have taken. We need to start from somewhere. Obi Beka say, and then Omo can say, I want to disagree a little bit with my senior Wilson. Maybe I will say, and yes, annulling the results and not election on the problem. But me, I have also seen that annulment of the results is a great signal to us, to other people who may want to stand for any position tomorrow, including any other political party. So, me, dear Mika, say, Basa, if the same people will go again, because the majority is saying that they should bar them, but if the same people may go again, sika bi biara best say best organize election, make us say it's supposed to come from their pockets. They must pay for every penny, because we cannot be wasting money on making a party can even if it's money for the party, they have to pay for it so that tomorrow they know that they have to do the right thing. So that's what I would say. So vote buying is equal to what? Postponing coup d'etat of today to tomorrow. Because the people who they select are not competent enough, rather money has elected them, not people.
All right, thank you very much. Dr. Francis Ahovi is a security, political, and a social analyst. Thank you very much.
Please, Mr. Doctor.
Okay. I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. The other time you used doctor, so I thought that doctor for GTA for more tech for. All right, so thank you very much. Hold on for me. We still have Professor Agyemang, CDD, a co-founder of CDD, and a former executive director, GECO4 Foundation, still with us. Mr. Emmanuel Wilson, anti-corruption crusader, still with us. Mr. Francis Ahovi, thank you very much. And now we have Mr. Clement Akulo, is a parliamentary journalist. So I join here. So Mr. Akulo, Shadi, the way Mr. Emmanuel Wilson, Kasa. Oshe that human sisi ado na such a person they no call parliament nebia our intelligence and security committee so is seeing everything is blowing our mind. Oshe Professor Agyemang na oshe the way sisi kasa the nim there say na dwum sisi do nebia our parliament will lead ebia a parliamentary caucus either majority or minority. Oshe ora Ahovi the way sisi kasa na dwum do fabia security and intelligence maybe na kwakwa ho any adina party is working seriously on the floor of parliament. You see himself are very vibrant when it comes to in the field and all that. But obashano na nana from ziga bia ebia ni tinka de nanka bia se make so new parliament wo hwe ba obi akwa kire say okọ parliament ebetimi abie kwa ma oye yo no ma bi ye be hwe na sa nana from no ebikwa no magazine kumase swami ebikwa no tono ma makola o kra plastic kakra wo no ho ebia no okejetia o store be se 10 kakra wo no ho na bia no wakọ akose sasa no ma yibi kosua no de makodi ahyem TV wa ha ntomo wa ha 3000 wa no de ababa be seat no na Professor Agyemang Emmanuel Wilson akọ trefi. Don't do things say sadi we say ne ebetimi awiki a parliament no ana say obi atuanti no it can't touch the quality of parliament.
All right, thank you very much, Ziga. That's Agyemang. So now we Agyemang Ghana man. Now, I can say vote buying any vote selling are affecting the democracy in a great deal, especially parliament. Now, I can be said. When we even look at it on the face level, on the facial level, even say the quality of our members of parliament, the quality of the debate, the quality of the discourse that goes on in parliament has reduced over the years. The gravity of the money in our democracy has also increased exponentially from the 1992, 1993 Babisi system. Now, there is something that when you do the comparison, we share the first parliament, the second parliament, the third parliament, and somehow maybe the fourth parliament. We share parliamentary discourse compared to TCA, the one to say there is some kind of difference na we bisa on say na sisi mo from 2000 eba ni nyama you say abefu jumadi no akonenim. There's a lot more technology at the heat of a battle. No, you get a lot of digital information. Obviously, I inform your debate in parliament. Anyone who can. Rather, no, the contribution of members of parliament to debate, the quality of the debate, the research in this Agyemang, apart from why identity and a back to the processes now, leading members to become members of parliament now. And I say, because of this phenomenon of vote buying, that process of getting the real committed people, members of parliament, it has been infiltrated. Because at that time, the first parliament, the second parliament of the Fourth Republic, to say the interest of the people who were there, were to do something for the country without being influenced by the money, the the real people got themselves into parliament. You see, I know debate now, see the quality of people now. First of all, say either the people are there, they get themselves into parliament because they want to catch the eye of the president to become ministers. That's their first and foremost interest in going to parliament. Secondly, it also feel say when I even get there, I may not want to be a minister, but I have business interests. When I get there, I can use my influence to better my business interest. But Omokono is not the interest of being a member of parliament. And I always say that we have people who come and they want to be career parliamentarians. Those people are the people who survive in parliament. They take a longer time in parliament because of my interest in saying, I want to become a career parliamentarian. My interest is not to be in the executive. My interest is not to do business, but my interest is in parliamentary procedures and parliamentary work. Those people, they end up being in the leadership of the parliament. So most of the time they end up being there. But their interest is not really for that. Pray, say, ministers. Why is it so? Because Obi Wonisika, na drew the delegate system now, parliament now. They are able to pay their way through because their pockets are deep. No more needs are unable to do so, no matter a dynasty. And we think that this vote buying and vote selling, in our democracy, has become a serious canker if we want our democracy to go forward. And say it's really now they commented about the position that was taken by the majority leadership in parliament and the NDC focus itself or the party itself. I think that it is something novel, something that is good because we say it may not be perfect the decision that has been taken, but at least we say some step has been taken which pushes the integrity button, which it could be a face-saving kind of measure, but it's very important that in parliament where the majority is said to benefit from whatever is going on in the Ayawaso East constituency. It is said that particular constituency is mainly an NDC dominated area. Most of the time, NDC for any winning, and even the member of parliament, the late member of parliament, is from the NDC camp. So, when they go into the election, it looks like it will be in the favor of the NDC. But I could do say, statement way about we want you to annul this particular election because there has been some allegations of vote buying in the electoral process. I think it's very, very commendable. And if going into the future, other political parties will learn this particular process and call their own people out when some of these things happen, I think it will go a long way to sanitize our democratic system or our electoral process.
Okay.
But I must quickly add, said, Anka, they should have exercised some restraint because it appeared that statement, came with some kind of definitive conclusion. Say, it appears, say, something like this has happened, and it appears to be focusing on somebody which the allegation has actually zoomed in on, and it makes the process a bit unfair to that person. And which say we have already concluded they are here a bit judgmental on that particular person without giving the person a due process for the person to go through. So that is where I think that if they have exercised some restraint, a very good, but just the courage to call their own people out in this particular setting, I think is very, very good. It may be window dressing, but we think that it is a call in the right direction. And one of the things we also want to add is that if you have started this way, then you must be consistent. Say, if you have noticed that there is vote buying somewhere, which you are calling on the state apparatus, the political party system to kick in, then let's not close our eyes on the future ones that will be happening. Because this is not the last time we're going to have elections. Okay. All right. Elections in this country have some kind of inducement. And if we are taking the decision to end it, then we must be holistic and make sure that we end it and not just start with this one and pussyfoot when we go forward.
Thank you very much. Mr. Kulo, me baba be bisa wa same way say. Apart from say, me pese me ye minister, and me ko parliament, say obi o man the party opposition, but o person still ko parliament. Me ba na baba bisa wo on our a parliamentary watcher, a communication expert officer PN Africa. About Bisa say, what else can you tell us? The obi person call parliament opportunities per pie the war no more and comfort me jai say, may high commissioner, I want to be a member of parliament. Be jai because Baba Jama is not the first person where high commissioner or person of Baba parliament. I remember when there was a by-election where Asumase, a high commissioner was Guinea, a by contested Mutaka Mubarak and lost on and on and on and on and on. So I come back and I ask you, what parliament people think say it is heavier than any other else. But let me go back to Professor Agyemang Bia. Mr. Agyemang was in Hodom. Now, Prof, remember and Nana Dankwa Kufuor in the first term we had cash for seats. The cash for seats say your to seat which can sign bia when your opportunity to speak with the president or something like that. A committee was set. But the characters in the characters in the story were exonerated. Okay. Then there was another one that happened in Parliament during the Nana Dankwa Kufuor first term, and now almost vetted some of the I say ministers. No, Rob Wacheja Kongo Basem Emeka say we Sika Ediama some of the minority caucus no any other part of appointment committee. No. Now the question is yes, setting up a committee, we did not see anything, and Mr. Wachejaku was exonerated. Now, based on Urua Fifi issue or a statement or the Babontin on behalf of the party to condemn their own political party figure in the person of Baba Jama. Baba Jama is not a small figure. Then you saw President so ultimately calling Baba Jama because of this issue. No? Do you think the committee almost set it up? No? The president and the Fifi Kwete, they have opened the box of hope for this country that the committee led by Ora Idusu Hussein, will get justice. This country will get justice. Or this committee.
Anything. Corruption in our political system has been with us for a very long time.
Yeah.
Now, no leader has taken decisive measures to kind of stem it. And to the MFN say, Mahama, on the day, and yes, the young Bonnier, something about 5 years to or no, the man is style is this about so they are not as a police to see I did some and that was your movie. Now, get home. The current issue, I am interested. Now, many wells, many I mean, the president and the party, what they are doing, there are laws already existing. Also, so the fact is that over the past 30 years, we have not enforced any of these rules. Indeed, for the first time, we are beginning to see real signs of enforcement. In this case, not yet, because we are yet to see who. And first time also, President, you're right, the man should have been fired the day he registered to run for the contest. Not to wait for the contest to occur before you run a notice say, fired. All these things are amazing. But at least, for the first time, we are seeing real signs of concern. When the first Mama who Neboa Mr. Obin Kai became now Margin Media, said political party, extra letter to condemn. This is the first time among we said parliamentary majority 80 statement to condemn. Not that they themselves are not indulging. All these guys were elected.
Yeah.
I'm sure in their text, they indulge in some of these things. But nobody chose to raise a finger. We are making this a year to let them know that now that they've had the courage to raise a finger against this behavior, we want it to stick. We want the president to understand, say, henceforth, that should be the way we pray.
Yeah.
We want the parliamentarians to know whether minority or majority to know, say, henceforth, I come with this is the more so we cannot allow the past to hold us hostage. Now that we have seen the light, so to speak, let us all together try to find a better way of managing our democracy, especially our electoral democracy, without this encroachment of money and wealth. And yes, things could have been done better by the president, things could have been done better by parliament, by all the 30 years that we have observed this fourth republic. Our electoral democracy has been corrupted by they themselves, the politicians. Okay, it's got in previous years, NBC for Tuesika, NPP for Tuesika. It's not new. But at least I'm happy to say, for the first time, the same people who have been corrupting the process have gathered the courage to come up. And Mr. Ayariga, majority that was General Kasa, the Fia Mekpo, also General Kasa. I'm not assuming, sir, when they were getting elected, they didn't induce people. I'm not assuming that. Because generally, all the politicians have been corrupt. But it's good, sir, for the first time, they are coming up publicly to renounce their own colleagues, sir. Especially you, the media, this morning to come next round of election. I am sure so much what we now pick them, but same stand. Nah, yet
Prof, this is a well of a hall of wisdom. But Prof Bambusao, nkɔfoɔ so ka sɛ ɛyɛ ɔmo issue statement Mahama Yarega because no Mahama Yarega I remember vividly when Adamu Sakande was removed from parliament over the dual citizenship in 2009. Mahama Yarega, who contested Adamu Sakande during the election, by-election, allegedly saw Mahama Yarega giving away tractors. And other tractors, California, to buy votes and it was all over the place. And people are saying that the majority caucus and they don't have the moral right to tell the Baba Jama say cancel and I say no election. What do you say about this? Let me give you a minute on this. Let me call Mr. Wilson.
In fact, supporters of Baba Jamal, they raised the same question. If you want to access on your failure, yes, of course, I know the case of Mahama Yara. If you make us a look, all those guys, don't know comment, mommy, who can throw the first stone? Maybe they encourage to electricity. You heard it, sir. But what you know is that they all do it. But me no me say, so we in INS and they do the light. So there's something we need to stop. Let's push them. Let's encourage them. Let's support them. Okay, yes. They said, yeah, Jesus. Yes, I do. Ebia Mahama Dauroma or the word Diaba or CBB a friend of research.
Okay.
So research no a manufactured corrupt the electoral process.
All right. All right, Prof. Thank you very much. Just Baba Jama the statement about Bontin. Baba Jama, the statement reads Mohammed Ahmed NDC parliamentary candidate East Ayawaso my constituency NCY press release. My attention has been drawn to a communique signed by the spokesperson to the president and the minister of government communication recalling me as a high commissioner to Nigeria based on an allegation of vote buying in the just ended parliamentary primaries. And the Ayawaso constituency. The statement referenced a similar statement issued by the General Secretary of our party, Fifi Fiabikwete, condemning the allegation and calling for an investigation into it. I wish to state categorically that I, Baba Jama, Mohammed Ahmed, have not engaged in any vote buying and or election malpractices. I pledge to avail myself to assist the party in its investigation into subject matter at the time. I want to use this opportunity to thank His Excellency the President for honor done me and the opportunity to serve my country as Ghana's High Commissioner to Nigeria. Finally, I sincerely thank the NDC in Ayawaso East for confidence reposed in me to lead them into the main by-election schedule for March 3, 2026. Signed, thank you, signed Baba Jama Ahmed Mohammed Esquire. That's a Baba Jama release of the Ababon, blah, 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 blah. You heard it. Because of the time factor, I don't want to go much into it. Then we go to Mr. Yimaro Wilson, anti-corruption crusader. So, Mr. Wilson, you've been fighting corruption since. Everybody knows you that you've been fighting corruption. Some of us see you the special prosecutor our prayer and I say we can fight for you to be in his shoes and I say take over that position. Now tell us who. President Mahama, I remember in 2016 when he became the president in 2012 to 2016, Madam Victoria Hammer as a deputy communication minister once said that if he had $1 million obequity politics. In fact, his driver recorded him and the audio came out, went viral. President issued a statement based on that and sacked Madam Victoria Hammer as a deputy minister. Now, We saw President Mahama jailing his own brother, northern brother, and a good friend, Abuga Pele, over Sada and Suba, Asofatin, and all that. Now, tell us what President Mahama has done by way of calling Baba Agyemang from Nigeria as a high commissioner to Nigeria. No? Has President Mahama proved to us is ready to fight corruption? Because recently, Okase and Kobepa corrupt states is bano and came free NPP for her back old administration back. BBC or na bemu na kwa sector example say he's a very reformed person. Do you think that President Mahama is ready to combat corruption in this country? What show you say or better be fighting corruption based on this Yamake?
Well, the truth of the matter is that, and I keep saying always purpose of fighting corruption are Niema miensa ani here or Niema elements miensa ni here in fighting corruption. The first one, the laws, anti-corruption law. Second one, institutions, anti-corruption institutions. And the third one, which is very important because that is what most often we lack, the will of a pack to fight it. I keep saying, when it comes to the institutions now, we have almost all the relevant institutions are fighting corruption. The same way when we talk about the laws and so on, we have almost all the laws fighting corruption. So and I gave an example of the fact that when you look at even vote buying and vote selling, as far back, years back, we were able to put it in our criminal code and still say it constitutes a crime. So we have all the fantastic law. We have all the fantastic institutions. Normally, what we lack, the will. Will here talks about the political will to ensure that both the laws and the institutions are working. Indeed, coming to the question, from all indication, and I'm very happy to say, antecedents of His Excellency John Mahama in the past years, near my wife, I have said consistently, and I still stand by it, Ebano de Wela, His Excellency John Mahama, to a very, very, very large extent, were trying, both in his first government and then this current government, say, Ebano corruption, he has the will to fight it. No two ways about that. No one would debate that. Indeed, that is the reason why I keep saying again, say, open fighting corruption, it's not just about your opponent, but it is also about your own people. Almost engage in corrupt practices and make sure that you will put them right. It will serve as a deterrent. Into John Mahama, His Excellency, a banner exhibition of will there. He has this fantastically. He has convinced me, he has convinced a lot of reasonable people that he has the will to add up to the laws and then the institutions for corruption to be fought. That is fine. That's why I said this particular time, he still is so eager to prove that a banner will, he has the will. And apart from said this time, on one official round, and the little thing he will see, he will amplify it and talk about it and say, hey, you are engaging in corrupt practice. If I want to still tell people, say, I have the will. Yeah, or Inca, when we approach NDC as a party, it takes a year. Constituting a committee to do an investigation. What is interesting, input said the committee was constituted over the weekend. Directive Ababeto Janet said the committee's mandate, it ends close of tomorrow. So in less than 3 days, the committee is supposed to do an investigation and give a report and to give the next line of action as far as the party is concerned. And not anyhow best by a fight to corruption. The will is supposed to make sure, say, they coordinated the laws and the institutions to work. That is what the will is supposed to do. The will is not supposed to go beyond or outside the laws and the institutions. NDC as a party, their approach of constituting a committee to investigate now, that is the best approach. And I'm sure Senka, President would have done. He need not set up a committee. What he needed to do is to say, look, may put pressure on the various institutions. More implementing law, may minimum of 3-4 days. Because if this committee is able to do its work within 3 days, then clearly you can't convince me otherwise. resources are at the disposal of this committee. It can be compared to the resources at the disposal of state institutions like Straj, special prosecutor, the police, and the rest. It is this committee can do their work within 3 or so days. Then the president could have given directive to the special prosecutor that within a day, the investigation may results. And that could have been done. That is what we expect the president to do. A ban will as I indicated. There's no question about that. But sometimes we talk about exuberance. You may have the will, you have the exuberance, but one thing here, the exuberance, you will direct it wrongly, you will misdirect it. In fact, talking about, and I said it earlier on, I don't want to belittle the point. Talking about the Baba Jama, in the position. It is literally much I do about nothing. The best thing he should have done was to direct the state institution to say, Mama, 1 day, 2 days, Munteki, what should be done. It is not late. Both the majority caucus and the presidency, they can take a cue from what the party, NDC as a party has done. Make it the right process, and that is first investigating, establishing the element, and then we take it a notch higher. If the elements are strong enough, we can take it to the court of competent jurisdiction, and then the law will take its course. And not the best survey significantly as a deterrent. Mr. of maybe a messenger because
thank you very much. God bless you, sir. God bless you, sir. Mr. Emmanuel Wilson is a chief crusader, CACC Ghana. Thank you very much, sir. Now, let me go to Mr. Francis Aovi, is a security expert and political science, political analyst. Now, Mr. Aovi, to say that now, Mr. Wilson, Ekano. You can see, say, President Mahama has a political will based on the precedent setting. It looks like, say, or political will. No? What are you expecting from the committee now, Yatisisiano? What are you expecting from them? Led by
Miriam Dawasi. Okay, me expecting from the committee say they should not undermine or disappoint Ghanaians. And say, as usual, now the say, Musa BBC, sir, Musa, we have seen people carrying TV set and other things there. Now, so, who say BBC science. If Omukoye Sano, it will be an indictment on their own integrity. A best insult to the intelligence of Ghanaians. So the Americans say, they have to go in say, oh, Yababa, who say where you say, baby, and Ukraine, Omun di two all as Ghanaians, Yabehunusa, Omukonya Ukraine, so say, we are by vote, where you say no. The wheeler, Minia Wilson can say, say, they supposed to take some punitive measures and action. They have to do that. And say, they have romanced us already politically. They romance that they are going to fight corruption. At the end of it, they will leave it like that. Romance will be, that means you are calling for fight. So the Americans say, the committee must do what it takes, say. And next time, President and whoever should direct those things towards the institutions that are already existing. Say, and they have to also say, support and the institutions themselves, they should not think, say, oh, my appointment, it's like, oh, nipa a chair and a downfall, on one ni busheni. Miko kanu currency si anaso miko China, miko panishina. Ebi appointment a muma meno manyeye. Debi, you are serving the state, not an individual. Omu se obi ne ma osa 2 minutes. Nanso 2 minutes. Se o yusu mi se. Ebeti nyama ye omamufo nyina some benefits and not to just praise or try to lick the boot of one leader. Debi and say omunyesa. And there should also be education. Civic education. We need to educate people, say, and the voters must understand that their vote is more valuable than any cash handed out. Civic education is a powerful security tool. So, say, And yes, there will be mommy one CD and ABCD and some make me vote man, but I'm voting based on the skill and the competencies that the person possesses. No, onu kwa na betimi ayede, etimi abo. And yes, sir, we are postponing today's mayhem, today's misunderstanding and social unrest to the future. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Before we said, does it have any security implication? Yes. But can you weave something around it and tell us that this has a security implication?
Security implications are so many. Security implications are almost so big. But when say, sisi ano nipa oni sikano ni cheetah for no omo supporting no. They can also go behind the scene and do something that I don't have to mention. They can go by beating or whatever. So because omo ni sika, but omo nim say nka sika ni moa, nka vote by ni moa, nka kojo na say odi nkunim. Now also because of that, omo supporters, they can raise that. And I said also earlier, wow, could this position to me, you don't have what it takes to say a leader. In so education, Bibia say, Bibia say, Potono, a bet in that agitation because as a youth, accommodate, because as a youth, ye need Juma ebeye. So the security implication now and the future, Onuna, I have actually clearly underlined. So it's postponing today's mayhem, instability to tomorrow. So the best thing, what NDC and 8 people are doing now, I think we have to support that as a country, not as a political party. So to be a deterrent or to be a lesson for any other person who may go into vote by and say, a Mrani Juma, why Eba Musa, Miniwu, I need scano, but you are Juno, a bet
all right. All right, thank you very much. Mr. Alvi is a political analyst, social commentator, and security analyst. Maminko, Mr. Clement Akolo na on fire me. Mr. Akolo, in the next, 7 minutes, to wait for mommy. Now, they made question to us. But before you go to the question that I ask you, tell us. I remember when Ura Alan Kojo Martin made a tribal, statement to be way back in 2004 when the Lesnary campaign was at its peak. He made a statement to be no kase a man twabam fama a Muslim by a twabama Christian, omoko twabama Christian. That statement, both NDC and NPP condemned that statement. Joint, they did it. Now I remember Dele Edem also said something against about President Kufuor and yet palatable at all, was an insult. Then both NDC and MPP issued statements and condemned it. Now we have seen this NDC as a political party, they have condemned it, and their majority in parliament or their caucus in parliament have also condemned it. This time around, can't NPP also issue a statement to support NDC in the form of solidarity as a Omumionu? Both parties require Congress about Kutibiko Echo show solidarity message in Adiano. Don't you think say Anka NPP either minority in parliament or the party itself should have issued a statement to join NDC to condemn what happened?
That particular situation, I say, a very novel situation. Body politics, Anka will expect Anka the NPP jointly will also support or issue a statement to support this particular position. But I want to say the two major political parties, they always have interest and they like to play to the gallery. Again, no question, still I want person to play politics. And not too long ago, the NPP went for their primaries. We had some allegations regarding vote buying as well in that particular incident. But we didn't see the same measure of Amokekana the NDC is using to actually bring this thing up. They are calling it a resetting of the system, which all the colleagues around the table know. I'm happy to say, Omar can say, we are going to ensure that this is consistent or is consistently kept as a standard going forward. Say what to me, I mentioned at a point in time, say this is not something that we should be doing now. then we are going to watch the space until we all reset the system. But it's unfortunate that up until now, no, we haven't heard anything from the other side of the political party, which is the NPP, which is also another heavyweight in the political arena. And we will expect that going forward, we'll hear something from them. For us to get a commitment from all the political players in the country that we don't want to go back to this vote buying and vote selling system. The personal political gains we seek to take in some of these things when it comes to national issues, are some of the things that we want to discourage. We also want to encourage politics of principle. Politics of principle. And you say when you are the other side, the thing look black and white for you, but when you are in the stead, now I feel I better to say the whole thing is gray for you. So let's continue to put pressure on them and to make sure say we want to encourage politics of principle. So which principle be at the EBBR, we will hold you to that principle, provided those principles are proper principles that will stand the test of time.
I see. So the question that I was asking earlier on is, you are a parliamentary watcher and communication officer, PN Africa. You've been to parliament, parliament in and out, center, left and right. Everybody, our passing through parliament, they know their qualities and order. Now today, you are able to tell us that based on practices here, it is reducing the quality in parliament. Now tell us, you can't be person call parliament and normally a business no. And then I enjoy. My 2 minutes on this. If I wrap up, I normally enjoy apart from say, be a person, me minister, what is in parliament?
Also, parliament, there are so many interests in coming to parliament, but there are two that stand out. Now, person mobile, and unfortunately, those two are not the very reason why we would want members of parliament to come. These two for political power and influence, and access to networking and security. Also, members of parliament, some political influence. It's most of the members of parliament, some of them want to come because they want to consolidate their power. They want to have a base in the political system. Even if Obi a foreign minister now or a member of parliament, no, we're buying the more. No, we say maybe a buying a call because in Ghana we know that we'll be going for this 8-year political cycle. To go say when it's getting to the second term of that particular government, we say a lot of the ministers now rush to become members of parliament because they want to consolidate their power. Secure so that even when the tables turn and they are in opposition, they can still have influence in their political parties. They can still have influence in government because when they are in parliament, still their political influence is there, so they can work on it until somebody didn't want to say their party may come back to power.
Okay.
So they seek to consolidate the power there. And then secondly, members of parliament have certain privileges, as in security privileges, also. Sometimes because they have money already, is not that attractive to them. But their attraction, I understand, there are some security in the constitution that goes for members of parliament when it comes to the court processes and immunities being one. You cannot easily sue a member of parliament or take him to court. So it gives them some kind of protection against the legal system. And also they also get opportunity to network more, to do businesses, because some of these deals, business deals, will come before their committees that they are part of. They say committee of trade and all those things. You know, they get to also have some influence when it comes to those things. These are some of the attractions that bring members of parliament to parliament, not really because they want to do the parliamentary work. And no, you feel say a bit challenging going forward, no. But that's why we are saying the process of getting our members of parliament to come and occupy the space, and if we can sanitize it and get the right people to come to parliament, then interest where I can want them will be minimized, and then we'll get people who really want to be in parliament and help the process go on.
Thank you very much.